Okay, hello, good morning. Welcome to today's Tanya. We're continuing from yesterday. Today is Friday morning here in the United States in America, and yesterday, chapter 35 at the beginning, um, we spoke about the plight of the Benoni, and the debate. The Alter Rebbe asks, "What's going on with the Benoni? He has to come down and go to war in vain his whole life because the Benoni does not ultimately vanquish the opposing side of his being, his nefesh bahamias, his guf and nefesh bahamias, body and animal soul. It will always be there, opposing, and he has to. So the Alter Rebbe asks, he has to battle with this his whole life in vain. Then the end of yesterday, the Alter Rebbe begins to say, and here will be the consolation and a double consolation for the Benoni, and here it begins. Now the Alter Rebbe's consolation and simcha and the view here, which will offer consolation and simcha, begins with a preface. So today is the preface to that explanation. And it's a lot of Aramaic, so let's try to barrel through it together. We'll understand this with a preface. Lashon Yenuka, the language of the Zohar in Parshas Balak. Al pasuk, on the pasuk, Ahacham einav beroisha. Ahacham, his eyes are in his head. V'chi ba'an asar einai davarnash, and where else are a man's eyes? Where else are a man's eyes? Huli ella helakra hachi hu vadai detanan. But certainly the explanation is like this: Lo yahach barnash begiloi dereisha arba amot. That a man should not walk with his head uncovered 4 amos. My time, why? Why should a man not walk with his head uncovered 4 amos? The Shrinta Shari Areshe, because the Shechina, the divine presence, dwells over on his head. Okay, the Shechina rests on his head, and a wise man's eyes and everything he possesses are in his head. V'chol chacham enuhu umeloi bereshe inun. Where is that? That refers to Behahu the Sharia, in him who rests and abides above his head. In a Kodesh Baruch Hu, his eyes are in his head, in he who is up there, in the Eibishter who is resting on his head. The Shari B'Kayama Areshe. V'chade Inui Taman L'Nadav Dehahu Nahida Da'alik Al Areshe. Istarech L'Mishcha. He must know that the light which shines above his head needs oil. Istarech L'Mishcha. It needs oil. Bagin de Gufa de Baranash. For the body of a man is a wick. Bagin de Gufa de Baranash ihu petila. The body of a man is the wick. V'nehoda adlik le'ela, and the light alights upon it. The light alights upon the wick. Okay. So the Shekhinah rests upon a man. That's the light. The man himself is the wick. And the light of the Shekhinah is, so to speak, burning and a light over the body, the wick. Shlomo Malka, and Shlomo Melech Tzavach cried out, V'amar, and said, V'shemen al roshecha al yachsar. The oil over your head should not be lacking. Dahu Nahida. For the light on a man's head must have oil. The light on the head requires oil. V'inan ovdan tavan. And what is that oil? Those are good deeds. The oil is good deeds. So there's three parts here. The body is the wick. The flame is the divine presence on the wick, and you need oil. What's the wick going to burn on? What is the wick going to burn up to be the fire over the flame, the divine presence over the man? It's going to burn the good deeds. The good deeds are the oil to keep it going. So this is back to the beginning. A man's eyes are in his head. Okay, so now we understand. A man's eyes are in his head. And you can't walk 4 amos with your head uncovered. That means you don't walk 4 amos without good deeds. That's the oil. That keeps the whole candle burning. So that is the beginning. That mashal begins the Alter Rebbe's consolation to the Benoni for his war, which he's in his whole life, never vanquishing the evil side, but in the battle always. So how is that bear fruit? So this is the beginning of the explanation, and we'll continue tomorrow.